We'll call the meeting to order for the legislative session 2017-13 for May 30th, 2017. Those who'd like to stand and join us in the Lord's Prayer and Pledge of Allegiance, please do. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Good evening, Ms. Hurley.
Good evening, Mr. President, County Council members, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, if I may, I'd like to introduce our new legal counsel for those in the audience and the PAC 14 viewers. We have sitting at the table Mr. Bob Taylor, who is council's new attorney. He is replacing Ed Baker, who moved to Delaware and plans to enjoy his retirement full-time. Bob, welcome aboard.
Okay, Bob.
I will say that Mr. Baker has agreed to continue to work on a project for council, so we may still see him at future council meetings.
Okay.
I would also like to mention that council had previously announced that it would set the tax levy and adopt the fiscal year 2018 budget on June 6. However, council was able to finish the budget work sessions earlier this month than anticipated and decided it was best to move forward with setting the tax levy and adopting the budget this evening. To start, we have resolution number 78, 2017, to levy and impose a property tax for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017, and ending June 30th, 2018. To provide for the payment for the service charge by a property owner under a semi-annual payment schedule, setting the tax rates for real and personal property, and providing for the collection of property tax.
Thank you. Entertain a motion from council to approve resolution 78, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Resolution passes.
Mr. President, that's all I have.
All right. Mr. Taylor, good evening.
Hello. Mr. President, this is the caption on legislative bill number 2017-05 as it was introduced on May 2nd, 2017. And I quote from the preamble, just the caption part. The annual budget and appropriation bill of Wicomico County, Maryland, to adopt the county budget consisting of the general fund revenue and expense budget for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2018, the capital budget for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2018, the governmental and enterprise funds budgets for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2018, and to appropriate funds for all expenditures for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017, and ending June 30, 2017, as hereinafter indicated. And I just would note that the hereinafter refers to the budget, as I understand it, that was originally presented by the county executive.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Entertain a motion from council to adopt legislative bill 2017-05.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President, I would move that we amend the budget in line with our most recent work session.
There's a motion to amend the budget to align with the decisions made in the most recent work session. Is there a second?
So moved.
Motion and second. For the record, we will list what those amended amounts are going to be, the amended items. First amended item is from the county council. A capital car was removed. The total was $18,500. Second item from community promotions was membership dues to Clean Commission Coalition, which was $25,000. Third item was community promotions dues for Maryland Rural Counties Coalition, which was $5,000. Economic development, a transfer to local match
Fund 67, which was $18,380. Sheriff's Office capital cars reduced from 15 to 10. Total is $285,120. Fire ambulance, airport fire and rescue, the amount was $300,000. Public Works grant to Wicomico Creek Watchers, the amount was $5,000. Hang on a second, am I good here?
Yep.
5,000? Okay. Shore Transit budget was supposed to be flat to fiscal year 17. The amount was $52,345. Roads, Great All Bush Cutter Attachment Heavy Equipment, which is $16,000. Roads Uniforms, which was $25,000. Solid Waste Uniforms, which was $25,000. Recreation and Parks, Stump Grinder Capital Heavy Equipment, which was $9,000. Recreation and Parks Overtime Park Maintenance, PK is Park Maintenance, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. 15,000. Mosquito Control Capital Truck, 30,000. Expenses and salaries, Deputy Director, Recreation Parks and Tourism, 76,500. Multiple expenses listed as line items under promotional savings. Finance was 11,820. Human Resources was 2,474. Department of Corrections was 66,712. Emergency Services was 2,700. Roads was 2,597. Solid Waste was $20,635 for a total of $106,938. Then there was a budget adjustment for the Board of Education in the line item under grants and mandates, one-time funding, non-recurring requests, technology for the classroom and security cameras. The amount total added was $328,000 for a net reduction of $684,783. Continuing on, line items recommended by the council in reference to the Board of Education one-time only funding. Item number 2, 4 laptop carts for reading program, 1 per middle school. Total dollar amount was $80,000. Item number 4, 3 laptop carts to serve each city high school English department for student instruction. The amount was $60,000. Item number 6, laptop cart, 1 laptop cart for ESOL program classroom use in Wicomico Middle. It's $20,000. Item 7, laptops to expand laptop cart usage in CTE classrooms. The amount was $8,000. Item number 11, laptop carts, 2 for classroom use in Delmar was $40,000. Item number 12, laptop cart, 1 for classroom use, Westside Intermediate for $20,000. Item number 13, laptop carts, 3 carts for classroom use, Mardello to accommodate increased usage due to curriculum demands for technology. Teachers are not able to access laptop carts. The amount was $60,000. Item number 14, laptop carts, 2 for classroom use, Salisbury Middle School to accommodate increased usage due to curriculum demands for technology. Teachers are not able to access laptop carts. The amount was $40,000. That is the total for $328,000. Those are the itemized amendments as recommended by Councilman Kilmer and seconded by Vice President Dodd. Any discussion from council on those on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Amendment passes. Any more discussions on the legislative bill 2017-05 as amended? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote of legislative bill 2017-05 as amended. We'll start with, to my left, to Councilman Kilmer.
Aye.
Vice President Dodd.
Aye.
Councilman Joe Holloway.
Aye.
Councilman Ernie Davis.
Aye.
Councilman Matt Davis. Matt Holloway, sorry.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. That's unanimous. Okay, that completes the legislative business. At this time, we open the floor for public comments. If you have any public comments, please come to the podium, state your name. Keep in mind, we do have a 3-minute time frame. Thank you.
Don Fitzgerald, President of Wicomico County Board of Education, resident, 101 Colburn Drive. I'd like to take more than 3 minutes, but I'm not.
If it's good, we'll give you 5.
I know you will. But on behalf of the students of Wicomico County and the Board of Education, I want to thank you all. I think most of you I had the opportunity to talk to yesterday, but publicly, I want to stand up here and thank you for supporting the future with technology. And I know it's hard to please everyone, but on behalf of the board, I really want to thank you.
Thank you, President Fitzgerald.
Good evening. My name is Kenneth Vickers. I'm the president for the Wicomico County Volunteer Firefighter Association. I have a few questions regarding the fire service agreement and the status of the Salisbury Independent Company Number 1. The first is, it is my understanding that the fire service agreement has been signed by all but the county council, and provides that the Salisbury Independent Company Number 1 will serve from the bypass and the outlying county territories. Despite the fact that the Chiefs Association had voted to give the entire territory to include inside of the bypass to that company. So I'd just like clarification on that, and that this is a separate matter, the servicing of that territory is a separate matter from the funding. Second question is, there are currently 14 companies within Wicomico County. Salisbury Independent Company Number 1 has been recognized since 1986. So why are they not being funded, since they've been recognized since 1986? Also, the other question is, the nuclear option has been thrown out by the city on several occasions. Do you have a plan B established should that ever come up again? Elected officials change. There's no guarantee that that will not come up again. And finally, as a side note, the state may call for an audit of the 508 money, the 508 Amos Fund, given everything that's going on. In the event that happens, it could put a suspension on all the county stations from receiving that fund. So these are questions that I think need to be looked into and have an answer brought up. With that being said, from what I understand, assuming that the audit is not performed, company number 1 can still apply for that 508 Amos Fund. Thank you.
President Vickers, if
Yes, sir.
you would, I certainly would want to talk to you about that at another time. Be glad to do that. If you would want to leave this list with Ms. Hurley, that'd be great. Or if you'd like to make a copy of it for Mrs. Hurley, we'd appreciate it so that we can review that and get back to you.
Yes, sir, by all means.
All right, great. You're doing a good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
President Cannon and members of the council, Donna Hanlon, Superintendent of Schools. I just would like to echo what Mr. Fitzgerald has said, and thank you for listening. Thank you for those of you who were able to come and witness firsthand our demonstration of technology at Fruitland Intermediate this school year, so that you could see firsthand what it is our students need in a 21st century classroom. So on behalf, as Mr. Fitzgerald said, of our almost 15,000 students, thank you very much for listening and for your support. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hanlon.
Corey Polidor, 800 Colony Drive. I'm here tonight based on, obviously, everything that's been going on since our announcement to separate from the city of Salisbury as company number 1 on February 22nd this year. It's very disheartening to see all of the resistance that we've encountered, not from our membership, not really from the public, from the city administration and the county council, to not support a volunteer company that's been servicing this area since 1986, that has been putting their own time in, recruiting their own personnel, and maintain and still survive to this day. It's a slap in the face. The money that we have saved the city and the county, both, is substantial, very substantial. If you go back to 86 and you add up every year, with every volunteer member, tack on benefits, you're looking at, in today's time, over $60,000 per person. At about 50 people now, it adds up really quick. And just go back every year to 1986, and you can see the financial savings we have offered and that the county has benefited from. There are so many lives that have been put out there. It's unbelievable. but you are elected officials that are put in a position to ensure the public safety of the county is met. And as the president of the Firefighter Association made a statement that, what is Plan B? Because you nix us off and we're gone, and the nuclear option comes out in 6 months because, well, it's already been told that it's really not enough to cover what they need covered. So why not throw it out there when there's no fallback, there's no protection at that point. We can't just lean on these other companies all the way around and expect them to pull up that entire workload. It's just not feasible. So why? That's the big question. Why are you not supporting an organization of volunteers that are willing to step away from their family, their jobs, give up their free time to ensure that all of you that also live in Wicomico County are protected and safe, regardless. It doesn't matter if you live in Parsonsburg or Hebron, Nanticoke Road. It doesn't matter, because mutual aid goes everywhere in Wicomico County. We'll respond all the way to Willards. We respond all the way to Mardella, all the way to Sharptown if it's needed. So it's not like we're just protecting the area in which Councilman Dodd serves. It's everybody's area. So I know what's been done is done. Financially, at this point, there may not be anything else that can be done. But in looking at the service agreement and what's signed, financially, that doesn't apply to us or our company. Like he said, we're one of 14 companies recognized. Whatever that building is on 1100 Beacon Park Drive is a building that the city is using to run out of. It's not a recognized fire company in Wicomico County. There's no 15th company being created. That is a city building. So I ask that you take this back, and whatever may happen from here forward, take into consideration that we've come this way not because we're trying to make a point or prove something. We want to help. If you don't want the help, if you don't want the savings, that's fine. I don't want my taxes to go up, though. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Pollard.
Good evening. My name is Ben Davenport. I live at 809 Alton Road, and I'm one of the newer members of the Salisbury Volunteer Fire Department. Before all this kind of got started, I just want to say a few things based on my experience being there. And when I started, the one thing I took away from it was kind of really getting to know your neighbors. Like there's a bigger, stronger community element that kind of develops there. And I know in this day and age where things are kind of turning sideways a little bit more than I would like to admit, it feels really good kind of knowing, who lives next door to you. And it's just an easier way for people kind of really to understand, what's in their neighborhood. And you're going to have, expansive ranks of members beyond that, that you'll see in paid staff. Not that that's a bad thing, but it just opens the doors for more people to kind of jump into an opportunity that's going to help maybe not only better the community, but better themselves. When I started in the department, I enjoyed it so much, and I got such a kick out of it and giving back to my community. They actually took the next step forward, and I enlisted with the United States Army, and I recently just got back from training as a military police soldier. And now that I'm back, I'm hoping to kind of get this jump started again so I can get back into doing kind of what made me make that decision to serve the country on a larger basis in the first place. But when things go wrong, there's always people looking to help. Look for the helpers. That's what people say. And there's lots of people in the community who would love that opportunity to give that help back. Because everybody has bad days. And sometimes it's just not enough people to make that better. But this kind of helps give that opportunity a little bit more force to get that out there. So I just want to share a few things from my experience. That's all I had. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davenport.
How y'all doing? I'm Charles. I stay at 139 Mitchell Road. And my experience with the fire service was bonding with a group of guys that treat you like brothers, family, and just going in the community, having little kids just look after you and say, "How you doing, Mr. Firefighter? Thank you for serving our community." And me coming from a rough neighborhood, from the hood, I really been a part of something. And joining this fire service made me the better man who I am today. And I got people looking up to me. Every time I ride a fire truck, I just see people from I don't even know just thumbs up. Even inmates that rides past the fire truck on the come from work release, they always shake their heads, thumbs up. It's like saying they're proud of me. So being in this fire service, I love it. Ain't no more how I can express my feeling about it. I love these group of guys. They taught me the way, they taught me the role, and it's been a great serving this community. I didn't spend my time away from the family from holidays, Christmas, just to make sure we get that peace on the streets. And from here on out, I promise you, whatever happens, that I will be there to make sure we get that peace on the streets. Thank you, y'all.
Thanks for your service.
Evening. Thank you all, first of all, for letting us come up here and speak. We appreciate what you do, and we hope that you feel the same about what we do. I've been a member of Salisbury Fire Department Station 1 since it first opened. I was actually a member at headquarters downtown here before it was open. My father was a volunteer. My brothers, actually all three of my brothers at some point had served. And what we're dealing with here is something that it's kind of, to me, sad to see the turn of events that have evolved. And when I say that, you guys have a chance to make something right that's been wrong for a long time. And when I say that, it's the same reason why you have a county sheriff's department and you have a Salisbury City Police Department. And to me, a combination department just doesn't seem to work. You know, if it did, then we'd combine the city and the county. You know, you kind of have to question yourself about the city and how we feel. You've got 50 people that want to volunteer to help, but they don't want to be involved with the city. There has to be a reason for that. And I can take you in a little bit of the history of what's going on. And 13 years ago, I stood right here, and I'm saying the same thing again. And basically, when Mayor Barry Parsons Tillman was the mayor, Chief Bresler came in. He was the new chief in town. You know, he basically has a study done, and with this study, I know you all have some history of, you know, this study. You need to look a little further into where the study came from and who was involved in the study, and then you might understand a little bit more about the outcome and what's going on. But what I said 13 years ago, they changed the city charter and basically said that we couldn't own anything. The volunteers could not have ownership from that point. So anything that, you know, we were supposed to take in, we had to change, you know, it had to be titled into the city's name. My question to you about that is, if the county pays for it, if you guys are the ones that help support us, and then the city says, yeah, that's fine, but it's ours, it's not yours. Men that take pride in what they do will do a good job. And if you go back and you research, everybody has talked about the turnout, you know, Station 1's turnout started to decline. If you look before 13 years ago back for the 20-some years from 1986 when it evolved, we never scratched. We rarely did we get re-alerted. And when I say that, I'm saying that because I took a lot of pride in that. But I also said, I stood and I got in a lot of heated battles over you know, that period of time with a lot of the career guys. What they were doing was they were setting up an assistant chief's buggy, they called it, or assistant chief's vehicle that was running in front of everybody. And what I said was that the volunteers could never develop. You're going to stunt their growth from that point on, and the reason is because we no longer got to run an incident because they would run, the career guys would run the buggy in front of us, and basically the motivation that we have, we love to help people, but we also like to know that a job has been done well. And when you start to have the conflict, and it's been there ever since we've had career and volunteer. I remember my father, when I was a little kid, talking about the conflict between the career guys and the volunteers. So you have to understand that to fix that problem, you got to make a decision. And that decision, again, if money isn't a factor, then just keep it like it is. But you have to really question what you're doing when you've always got a battle. You're going to have the same battle with the sewer and the water with the city eventually. It's coming. It's just a matter of time, you know. And I'm not one to I don't like to say, hey, I told you so, but at some point you're going to have to get in the sewer and water business, because what's going to happen is the cost is going to escalate through the cities. It's going to be so high that you can't afford it. And me as a county resident, I don't want to live in the city, and I don't want to be taxed twice. There are a lot of benefits to living in the county. And as far as getting the job done, if we got the job done for all those years, we still are going to get the job done. The question is, are we going to get it done with the city, or are we going to get it done being independent? Each and every one of these guys has the ability to go join Fruitland or Parsonsburg, or they could certainly go to another station. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to say that the funding, it's not like we're asking you to give more money or to support us in a different facet than you are Fruitland. You've been supporting us all along. The problem is that with the city, it's never enough. It's the same way with what we do. It's like, it was never enough. I mean, giving and trying to help and, to really, give to the community. The motivation that got taken away 13 years ago, they took the ownership away, and they also started running in front of us. And when I say running in front of us, let me explain something about that. At 2 o'clock in the morning, the old Coca-Cola bottling company right over here, we had an alarm, 2 o'clock in the morning, duty crews asleep at headquarters, when headquarters was right around the corner here. Station 2, right down the street. Station 1 beat every one of them there. We constantly took pride in it. What happened was the pride of ownership got taken away 13 years ago, and with that, that's where the calls started to diminish. You can do the research, and I can back it up. I'll get you statistics if any of you have any question about it. But if money isn't a factor, then basically, we can't help you. But money always becomes a factor in the end. What we're saying is we're not asking for more money. What we're saying is let us be independent of the city, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think what you'll see is that you'll see the other 2 volunteer entities that are within the city, they'll follow suit, is what will end up happening. A new fire station, another question that you guys have to ask yourself is, what can that hurt by having more equipment and having another station that can serve the community? I've heard people say, oh, well, I live in, Nutter's Crossing, Well, that's been spearheaded by a few career firefighters and Chief Bresler, or ex-Chief Bresler, that was the one that was the head of the study. So, when I stand up here and, say these things, it's from fighting the battle 13 years ago. It's all come full circle, And the other thing is that, to me, I feel just like the gentleman that just got up here and spoke, it's made me feel really good to be a volunteer, and it's really changed a lot of people's lives. I came from a neighborhood just like you did, and it really helped to feel like I was helping people, and that's all that these 45 or 50 new people want to do. They basically want to help the community. In saying that, we really would appreciate your support as far as helping this station get off the ground. So, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Chuck Foskey, 3737 St. Luke's Road. I've been in the Salisbury Fire Department Volunteer Division 33 years. Father, son, and mother over 140 years. There's several things I want to clear up because I've seen it thrown in everybody's face and thrown in the papers that we had a response rate of 51%. Well, when you're down to 12 members because the city doesn't recruit volunteers, that's pretty good. Mayor told us when he came in, he was going to actively recruit volunteers, and he was going to put a budget together and actively look into this. It never happened. The commercials you saw on TV were paid for by the volunteers. Number two, this response rate of a 9-minute response rate is true. I spoke with Mike Davis, president of Maryland State Firemen's Association, explained the situation going on in Salisbury. He said the fire chief manipulated it to suit his needs. The 9 minutes response time is to have 15 personnel on scene in 9 minutes of the call. Salisbury Fire Chief said we had to be out the door in 4 minutes, and nowhere does it state that anywhere in that rule. It says on the scene in 9 minutes. So if we got to the firehouse in 5 minutes and we were on the scene in 8 minutes, we were still counted as a scratch on that. I'll tell you number two what happened. There's been so many missed things in the paper, in the news, there's been out and out lies. And the fact that our response rate was low, no, it wasn't low. I'd put 2 pieces of equipment on a medical assist. You're sitting at home. My son's home where I lived before, it's 7/10 of a mile from the firehouse. You're sitting at home, pager goes off. You go to the firehouse. It's dispatched for a medical assist to help someone pick up somebody that's maybe oversized, or maybe to help with the medics, free the medics up so that you can get a driver in the ambulance and both of them can work on the patient. As soon as we get dispatched, the tones go out, we're jumping in our cars, go to the firehouse, you'll hear paramedic 1, paramedic 2, whichever, to central, have the duty crew respond. We get it to the firehouse and the duty crew's already on the way with an engine. How many capital pieces of apparatus do you want to put on one medical call? So we stay at the firehouse. We man the station in case there's another call. That was counted in those records as a scratch. If the mayor pulls the nuclear option, which he could do, Parsonsburg and Fruitland both have said they've got all the territory they can handle. They also said that when we got the money, the night when we had the thing at the Moose, the county, and y'all and Bob Culver gave us the money, the mayor told me the next day, as soon as I took that check in my hand, it belonged to the city of Salisbury, the county funds, that we have nothing to do with it. The 508 money has been spent wrong. That is going to come to light. I've spoken with the county, the Maryland State Firemen's Association, as a grant through the military, and they're well aware of what's been going on, and they will be looking into this. It cannot be spent on a municipality. The equipment that we bought, that we purchased at our station, if they do pull the nuclear option, your county charter says that equipment cannot be territory specific, correct? You guys know the county charter? Well, if he pulls that nuclear option, that means that piece doesn't respond to the county. So he's violating the county charter. And it's just, I've seen all this stuff in the paper, and I've shook my head and I've remained quiet. And I've tried to be a gentleman about it. The fact that 10 members left, false. 6 left. 20-some left the City of Salisbury Fire Department. The fact that the chief sat here the other night, and I wish he was here, and told you there are volunteers at Station 1. Well, that's funny. 2 nights before, an assistant chief quoted in the Salisbury University letter that there were no volunteers at Station 1. Station 2 just had 2. One guy moved out, and the other 2 are moving out. It was on the internet the other night. Station 2 sitting there empty. We've just built a new station that for many years said that it was too close. It was too close to headquarters to start with. It should have been built farther out in the county. It was built in 1928. So headquarters 1926. For many years that I was in the fire service, they said these buildings are too close together. At the time they were built, they weren't. But then they turned around and built it right back across the street. And now they have no volunteers. And it's not manned during the day or night by career. So there's several $1 million sitting there in equipment that's not getting used. You know, I hope we can get past the political part of this and put this into public safety. Because it's something I've been doing, it's something I'm very passionate about. I've put in a lot of time working on this engine. I got in, yes, there's a fire engine sitting in my garage at home. My wife says, someday I knew that was gonna happen. There's an ambulance sitting in my warehouse at work. All we want to do is put it to work. You know, Station 6 moved to the next building. It still says Parkersburg Firehouse on the old building. Station 6 didn't have to get a new number. Still the same group of people. The brick and mortar that sits over on Beagland Park Drive is still there. The members, Station 1 is no longer there. All I'd like to see is us to continue getting supported. We also said we'd take over the airport. We'd help you with the airport. I don't see what the problem is. It's a win-win situation for the county. I also foresee in the future volunteerism dropping to the point where you're going to see a county fire department with career personnel at every firehouse. And the way it's dropping, you know, we couldn't get anybody to sign up to join Salisbury. I've never seen so many applications since we left. Even people that live out of town want to come in and do a ride-along program or an associate membership, which is great. But I saw what the hours program that did to Salisbury Fire Department when I was assistant chief at headquarters and Steve Bresler came here. And then they moved the station over there. It failed. It's gonna fail. It's not gonna work. You cannot dictate to somebody how many hours they're gonna show up and be at that firehouse to sit there and babysit a firehouse. Call us when there's an emergency. We're gonna do our dangest to get there. We'll leave our dinners, we'll leave our families, we'll leave Christmas. We'll do searches on Christmas. We did many years ago on an unfortunate situation. You know, we spent out, I was home less time than I was out. All we're asking is for your support to let us keep doing what we've been doing. We'll take it from there. You just give us the support, and we got you covered. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foskey. Any other public comments?
Hi,
Good
I'm
evening.
Trisha Polidor, 800 Colony Drive. All these guys had these at home. They'd rather serve this community. If that means nothing to you, then you're stupid. I'm sorry. These men love this city. These men, they miss birthdays. They miss holidays. And wives and boyfriends and significant others. We stand by them. We're all here because they love this city. So I think it's such a waste of a resource to have these people who are trained and they're skilled that all they want to do is serve this community. If it was any other realm of the city, I feel like you guys would back it. I don't know what is getting in your way, but as a wife, I haven't served one call, but I've been at home. And I saw what he's brought home up here and in here keeps him going. I just want you to consider that factor. Put the money aside and all that. These guys love this city just as much as you do.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Name is Luis Castro. I live in 403 Beagland Park. Been with the Salisbury Fire Department as a volunteer for 7 years. First generation. Never thought that I would ever enjoy riding a fire truck as much as I thought when I was a little kid. But beyond the part of the satisfaction of riding the fire truck and making all the noise, serving the community from a different point, from a different aspect, it taught me a lot. It changed me quite a bit, allowed me to enhance my abilities and my knowledge and actually apply it to save somebody's life house, cars, whatever the situation might be. It's been a real good journey. Unfortunately, what has been happening recently, I do a little echo with Mr. Foskey's word. Unfortunately, I signed up as a volunteer, and I've been forced by the city of Salisbury to become a career member without pay. They want me to be at the station if I want to respond to a call, which I would love to do if I didn't have a wife and a kid. So being forced to choose be at the station if I want to respond to help somebody out, I took it a little bit as an offense. I do realize that the fire chief might have to do what he has to do, but not hiring more people, more volunteers like we've been asking for years. And I can tell you many times, because I was on the hiring process committee, we have people calling us, hey, I submitted my application 6 months ago, 7 months, and I haven't heard a word. And we already had 2 classes started for Fire 1. And the department never called them back. And that kept on going and going. And that's why, like he's mentioned, the volunteer staffing kept getting lower and lower. People were getting old, needed to retire. Other people's situations changed quite a bit, so they needed to leave. But we never had a replacement. And I was part of Station 2 and still a member of Station 2. I've seen people right now that they love to be on the fire truck and they haven't been sitting on a fire truck for months. And it's because of the same reason. We've been forced to act like career members without getting paid, and it's just not fair. So I'm supporting these guys. I signed up to be a Station 1, or signed up with the corporation, Station 1, to be able to do the same thing that I was doing in Lobbin, to be able to respond when somebody needed it, and not just sit down at the fire station missing time with my wife and kid just to wait to see if something happens. And I did it for a little bit before I had my kid, and I tell you, I spent a lot of time with a single call, many hours invested. So it will be great if I can leave what I really signed up for, to be a truly volunteer, help my community, but only when I'm needed. Not just sit around because somebody wanted to see people sitting in a firehouse doing absolutely nothing. I do appreciate your time, and I really hope you guys take into consideration supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castor. Any other public comments? Any other comments? Chief?
Corey Polidor, 800 Colony Drive, Fire Chief, Salisbury Independent Fire Company, number 1. Mr. Castor is not the only member, and nobody even asked Mr. Castor to talk this evening, to bring anything up, to mention that he had joined our company. There's threats of repercussions within the city for members that are joining us as well, and thank you, Louis. There are a lot more members like him that did not want to be here because they didn't want to face repercussions that the city may hand down to those members of 2 and 16. But he's not alone. Everybody in here that is with our company knows that. Some council members may know that. They may have seen him and talked to him. But he's definitely not alone. Our numbers are growing. The city hasn't funded any recruitment in over 10 years, and all of a sudden they make a statement that, oh, well, we're fine on our volunteers. We don't need them. Station 1 can leave. And over 10 years, they haven't funded any recruitment, but all of a sudden now they're funding on their own recruitment. Well, if they didn't need us that bad, they never funded recruitment. Why are they funding recruitment now if we weren't really needed? Because their numbers have dropped significantly. They're not growing. They said, I think some representative from 16 said they had over 80 volunteers. That was back in March. Well, there was a statement last Friday at an open house that, oh, well, we had 42 volunteers at 16, and now we're almost at 60 or 50, somewhere in there. So a lot of contradictions. They also said they had 4,800 hours staffing, volunteer-wise, staffing Station 1. Insight today at their staffing, where they lay out who's scheduled volunteer-wise, about 329 total hours, not 4,800 hours. 4,800 hours is 224-hour shifts. I don't think they have the personnel to do that. So do they truly have the staff to be able to provide the service to the county. I see Station 2 shut down quite a bit recently, paying overtime to try to backfill it. Volunteers haven't been responding out of there. It's not long before they're going to be sitting in the same situation that we are right now. We're willing to do this, take those members in from these other companies that don't want to be in the city anymore, that's providing them another option to still serve. Give it to them, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any other public comments? Seeing none, that concludes public comments. Council comments. Councilman Kilmer?
Well, I'll make a comment. I mean, a lot of you guys from Station 1 showed up tonight, so I guess maybe it's, you deserve to hear a little bit of something from us. When we received this budget, to go to the technical, to Mr. Vickers, what you talked about, we received this budget, there was funding for 11 fire companies in the budget. Except in a very narrow instance, we cannot add to the budget, and that was, we can only do that, the state law allows us to add to the budget for the Board of Education for one-time funding, which is what we did tonight. In the budget with 11 fire companies, we funded fully those 11 fire companies. The 3 city fire companies, not just Station 1, but Station 16 and 2, there was no, they were not treated the same as the other volunteer companies. And we had some discussion about that, and I believe that's because of the fire service agreement and the way the payment goes to the city. So that's just to clarify. We got the budget. The change we made with the fire was taking the money out for the airport, and the understanding that we know that's going to be coming back to us once there's a plan. There was, as we talked about, the executive's office talked about, they don't really have a plan. For our funding, when they get some more solid numbers on that, I believe the plan was that would come back to us later down the road. So in terms of a allocation for Station 1, like Westside gets or Allen gets, that was not in the budget, and that's what we dealt with that budget as we were presented. The council can cut, which is what we did, as you heard. We made a variety of cuts to the budget. I know some people aren't happy with some of those cuts. I think we, you can quibble with our decisions, and that's fine. I think all of us are open to any discussion about what we did on the budget. We passed a balanced budget by reducing taxes in line with the cuts we made, and also with the funding, the one-time funding for the Board of Education. This is a balanced budget that provides tax relief for the first time in a good number of years. This was a budget that all the council worked very hard on, and I think it was a good compromise budget. That's more of a wider comment, but that is the budget situation that we were presented and the budget situation that we did, and I appreciate all of you showing up. I understand, understand why you did, but that's the situation we were dealing with. The wider budget issue, the cuts we made and the taxes we cut, I think, are a win for the citizens of Wicomico County. And with the school funding, I know that was something that some council members felt very much that they wanted school funding. Some council members felt very much they wanted tax cuts. We were able to find a budget where we did both, and I'm happy with that. I understand that the budget isn't perfect from every single person's perspective, and we're certainly, if we call us up, let us know. We're happy to sit down and talk with anybody that has any issues with what's in the budget or what's not in the budget. I'll speak for myself at least, and maybe the rest of the council members too. So, but thank you everyone who showed up. So.
Any other council comments? Councilman Hall?
I'll follow up a little bit on what Mark said. We can't add to the budget. Chief Pomodoro, we've talked, we spent some time talking. I gave my suggestions, what would make your fire department work. One of them was to get a location and make that work. I suggested a more central location than where you had planned. But until this is brought to us from the county executive, until there's a plan, the council can't add to it. I mean, we can't do anything. And we really appreciate you coming and letting us know. And we've not been putting this off. This it's not come to us yet in the form that we can do anything about it. So, but that's my suggestion, and I think that would possibly, I can't speak for the rest of the council, but when they see that you're viable, that you have a location, that you have a building, that you have all the things that a fire department needs, I think there would be a lot more cooperation in both ends of the government. So, thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Councilman Holloway. Any other council comments? Under presidential comments, as has been stated before, the county council looked at the budget that we had this year, and we saw increased spending and felt that it was the most responsible thing as far as the council's concerned was to maybe reduce the spending. Hadn't been done in quite some time. As a matter of fact, it's rather unprecedented that there's been a tax decrease for the citizens of Wicomico County. So that's why this council chose to take that initiative. We'd seen a budget increase of 6.3% last year, total of a 9.3% increase just in the last 2 years. Taxes didn't go up, but more money was coming in. And when you see that imbalance, you know, we took it upon ourselves to review that and to make a decision. So that's why we came to that conclusion. We thought it was a good thing for the taxpayers of Wicomico County to see a benefit. As Councilman Kilmer explained, at the same time, we found it room certainly to do something positive for Wicomico County Board of Education, because they've done such a great job for us over the last few years. Matt Holloway, Councilman Holloway, spearheaded that, you should know. But there wasn't one council member at the table, including our conservative Mr. Kilmer over here, who objected at all. And there wasn't one council member who objected to that. We thought it would be a good move and a very good gesture to send to the Board of Education. We have a new superintendent, and we want to see everybody do the best they can along that line. So that was pretty much what our position was and why we decided to do such. You know, the consumer price index rose about 0.2%, and the rate of inflation is at about 2%. So I don't see where we have compromised, I think, the stability of Wicomico County with a reduction in the tax rate at this time. So again, I'd like to thank all the council members for their participation in this. It was a very long discussion. A lot of work had to go into this, and we really appreciate that. And the staff as well that helped us prepare the budget as we amended it and passed it tonight. In reference to the discussions as far as public hearing with the Volunteer One station, this council very much appreciates the volunteers in Wicomico County. We very much appreciate each and every one of you at Station 1 who were volunteering at Station 1. I know I personally clearly recognized that there was a dysfunctional environment that created this tension. And you know, we see that and we get that. I think what we are trying to do here is just try to find out some way where we feel that, I'd say geographically, kind of what you would also refer to as logistically and financially, that some type of a package can be put together to make this happen. We do understand what Mr. Foskey said. We understand what Mr. Castro said. I don't see where it's the purpose of volunteers to be assigned to a station and to sit at the station. You volunteer because you want to fight fires, and we appreciate that. And anyone should be more than glad to take that sacrifice and learn and appreciate that, and not relegate the volunteers to maybe another position that is, I guess, more encumbering on your time, and at the same time, not really what your true intention was to begin with. So we recognize it. Hopefully we can come to some resolution with it. Again, this was a real quick and narrow window that was established for us, and I just don't think that we've had enough time to sort of sort through everything. Hopefully, as government does, we don't take too much time to figure out where we need to go from here. But we have heard you loud and clear. I give Chief Paldo a lot of credit for the leadership that he's demonstrated and all the volunteers that have given their support. I mean that sincerely. So let's see where we go from here. I'm not quite sure where we're headed, but let's see what we can do to see, there's a lot of good people that want to do a lot of good work, and see where we can put that in as a great fit for Wicomico County. So, well, I'm not limited to 3 minutes, so I can go on all night until you all throw me out, I guess.
Give me that gavel.
Yeah. So that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion from council to adjourn, if we could. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.